Woo! Wow, what an exciting day. My name is Trevor Mickelson. I'm a Senior Vice President of Five Rings Financial, and I have been waiting for this event for months. Months and months ago, I connected with some very powerful women in my network and said, I need to connect with some of the most influential, strong women who can help me personally just put some wind behind the sails of the shift of equality. And I was reintroduced to Judy Hoberman, who has this national brand called Selling in a Skirt. She's a national best-selling author. She speaks to these major finance organizations on how to shift the equality from, no kidding you, 95% male driven to 50-50 equality. In our company, Five Rings Financials, over 65% women. And it was this amazing minds coming together. And we decided that it would be no better opportunity, beginning of the year, you've got resolutions, you've got goals, to really attack the core of what is at really the core of issues revolving around money, revolving around wealth, health, fitness, family, time, everything. And it really came around the myths around money, mindset, and really what we have been embedded in our minds over and over and over again. And I partnered with Judy because I want to be that guy, looking back 20 years or 100 years, saying, hey, who are some really influential men that were behind the shift of the equality movement for women? I want to be that guy. So if you're looking and you're like, women, what's that guy doing there?
Trevor?
Yeah, Trevor.
And Lawrence.
Yeah, yes. But that's why I'm here. I want to help and shift. And just a quick story about me, and we'll introduce Judy as well as Mara, is my mom was a breadwinner. My dad stayed home. And because my mom was the breadwinner, we earned 30% more or less than everybody else. And as a guy, I got to experience inequality, and that's something that guys just don't think about. And when you step back and you go, wow, this is really ridiculous. And I went through a process that we'll be going through tonight many months ago. And I said, you know what, things need to change. So with that, I would love to introduce Mara, and then what we'll do is we'll shift gears to Judy, and I'm so honored and grateful that Judy can be here. So Mara is my co-host and co-partner with Five Rings Financial. She's an executive vice president and launches many wine women and wealth across the country. She's been a huge partner of mine. And Mara, did you want to say anything about yourself?
Sure, I'd love to. Cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Mara Simoneau. I'm an executive VP with Five Rings Financial. And for the last 7 years, I've had the privilege of getting to travel all over the country and support women in stepping into their greatness, whether that's from starting a new career with Five Rings Financial or maybe mastering their money mindset through our Wine Women and Wealth program. And when Trevor came to me and said, hey, I want to play with this awesome gal named Judy. She has this great brand called Selling in a Skirt. She does a lot around money mindset. I said, cool, let's get together. Let's get in the sandbox. Let's see what we can build. And that's kind of where the webinar idea came from. And tonight we're going to be sharing from Trevor's experience, from my experience, and also from Judy's experience, really about the money myths and mysteries that a lot of times we feel kind of stuck in, and being able to rewrite that and create a new money story to create an awesome financial future for ourselves. So that's what I'm all about. Really excited to not only take Wine Women and Wealth to a national level with in-person events, but also virtually, allowing us to reach more and more women and help expand that message of equality and also of having an awesome and empowering financial life. And I'd love to introduce Judy. I've gotten to know Judy over the last month or so as we've been putting together the content for this, and she really is a trailblazer. If there's a woman who has been through it, Judy is the gal, and she has story after story after story of how she has overcome and created an incredible career. So without further ado, Judy.
Thank you so much. You know, it's so funny that you call a trailblazer, because in actuality, there was nothing to blaze. There was no trail. That's the funny part. Trevor and I go back a few years, we were in the same company together at different locations and different positions. But I started out not knowing anything about insurance or financial. I mean, zero. I didn't know I had to be licensed. That's how bad it was. But I was a single mom, and I knew that the only job I had was to actually protect my family. And that's a huge responsibility because there was nobody else. You know, my children did not ask to be put in that position. And so I wanted to make sure that they were okay, and more than okay. And so when I came into this industry, I decided that if I protect my family, well, why can't I protect yours and yours and yours and yours and yours? And that's how it kept me into the industry, because I'm sure every single one of you that has anything to do with financial or insurance wanted to quit a million times. I wanted to quit a million times an hour. But I knew that if I did, I would probably miss, or you would probably miss, having somebody take care of you. So when Trevor came to me a couple of months ago, it was very interesting because I had to go back and go, oh my goodness, I know Trevor. We did some stuff together, and we have some stories that we probably can share together too. And I thought it would be really awesome to put together some way to reach out to other women and the men that champion them, and find a way to bust some of the myths about money, find a way to let people know, let women know that it's okay to make money. You are a for-profit company, and it's all right, and you deserve to make money. And when I had an agency down in the South, most of the women said to me they couldn't make more than $30,000 because that would be more than their husbands, and you're not allowed to do that. So there's a myth right there. So, and then I was introduced to Amara, and I thought, oh my God, between the three of us, we have so much experience and so many stories and so many ways to help people get to where they want to be, that this is how it all came out.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you, Judy, and your experiences. And so let's just go ahead and start off. So the first thing that we're going to do tonight is we're going to bust those myths that are limiting your financial perspective. And this is crazy. When we were chatting with multiple people and we got multiple questions, thank you very much for all the questions that you put in and all the responses on the forums. But there is a lot of myths going out there about money, about perspective, about how much you can earn, how much, and it really comes from that mindset of, okay, what's limiting that financial perspective? So, Judy, what would you say in your experience, is the biggest myth that women have?
One of the biggest myths that I hear all the time is that they can't make enough money. Either they're not allowed to, or they don't feel that they have the experience to do that. And I don't hear as much that men and women don't make as much money, except now I'm starting to hear that. I didn't hear it back then because it wasn't even anything. When you're in sales, it doesn't come up that often. But today you hear about it. So women always say to me that they're not allowed to make money, or they can't make money, or they can't make enough money. And when you're in financial and insurance, this is an industry that, number one, you can make as much money as you want. And number two, it's probably one of the best industries to have that equality, because you can make an enormous amount of money, the same as the man here and the same as the woman here. It just depends on what you're putting into it. And I heard something today that just like shocked me was, you know, that the whole Me Too development that has occurred over the last month or two. Well, Kevin Spacey was booted out of his House of Cards role, and they brought in someone else. And the person that they brought in obviously is male, and they had to reshoot some scenes, and he made $1.7 million or something like that. The scenes that they had to reshoot, they also had to have Michelle Williams in there, female. She made $1,000. And when she found out,
I just saw that on the news tonight.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So when she made $1,000 and he made 1.7 or 1.76 or whatever it was, why is that? Because they worked the same amount of hours and they did the same thing. So why is that? So now that's what I'm saying. I didn't hear it as much. Now I'm hearing it. But my big myth that I hear is that they can't make enough money and they don't deserve it. So.
Gotcha.
The big thing I run across is that I find that a lot of women, even if they're making money, they don't necessarily know where to go to get the information about what to do with it. And there's a lot of, I don't feel like I don't want to say necessarily shaming that goes on in the financial industry. There might be some of that internal conversation where by the time you get into your 40s or your 50s, you're kind of shitting on yourself, saying, I should have done better. I should have known this. I should know this. I should this. I should that. And we don't realize that a lot of people don't. You know, that's the coolest thing about the Wine, Women, and Wealth community and our Money 101 class is that when people get together, they realize I'm not the only one. And
Right.
a lot of times creating that foundation is enough for people to feel like they can step up and begin asking the questions without there being any shame around, I didn't know.
But don't you think, and this is for both of you, but don't you think that if there was a way to educate women about finances, because a lot of times when you're married, a lot of times the financial advisor advises the man. And when the man is no longer in the picture, the woman now looks for somebody else because she has no relationship with that man. So don't you think if there was a way to educate women from the very beginning? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I love to learn. And there's nothing, what's wrong about learning how to spend your money, how to invest your money, how to earn your money? What if there was a way to educate women? Because I do believe that that's the missing piece. And I think women are reaching out now and saying, help me. Really help me do this because I don't know where to go and I don't know how to do this.
I had that experience today, actually. A woman was saying the same thing. Trevor, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, Judy, I think this is really why we're excited to have you on tonight is to illuminate the experience that you've had in the finance and insurance industry is that you're out there in the good old boys club where, you know, you started out, I remember you telling this story with a decent number of men and a few women. And then at the end of this 10-year period of like 10 years or 11 years or something, you were the only woman and it was just all guys. And I think there's just not enough women in this industry and there's not enough women serving women. So really what I find is women would rather work with another woman. And because there's not enough representation, it just generally gravitates for the men working to each other and, you know, patting them on the back and schmoozing them and saying, yeah, we're going to get this done. And, you know, really stroking the guy's ego to make it retirement come to fruition. And what I generally see is guys don't want to talk to the women. Guys don't want to confront that because it is a different conversation. The majority of my clients are women and it's a different conversation. And when I talk to a guy, it's almost like I don't want guy clients. I don't, because the conversations, it's very confrontational, it's very straightforward, and women you can kind of relax and get to know them. You take time, you can talk from, you know, heart space and a different perspective altogether. And I think as we're going in the future, we're, you know, 5-6 years from now, women will have 65% of the wealth due to divorce and widowship. We've got to find a way to figure this out in this industry. And generally men don't know how to transition they just look for men as clients. And I see this male perspective. I see this talking to guys. They just focus on men and they don't want the wife or the partner or the woman. They don't want them involved, unfortunately. So.
Well, one of the things you have to remember is people look for themselves. They look for themselves, and as a man, you're going to look for yourself. There's an insurance company here in Fort Worth that the entire team are what I call frat boys. They're all like in their late 20s. They all look exactly the same. They're real hot shots. They make a lot of money, but they don't want women. They don't want women. The same thing with financial advisors that are trying to help women with wealth. You have to build a relationship. We are looking for somebody that understands us, asks us questions, and is truly interested in us. And the part that is a little scary is that you have to go back to your childhood to understand where some of these myths come from. Like your mom might have said, or your dad might have said, money doesn't grow on trees and money's the root of all evil. So now let's not talk about this. Don't talk about it. We can't talk about it. You know, it's like politics and religion. You don't talk about it. You never shared what you earned. You would never do that. That's horrible. In companies, you're not allowed to talk about what you earn. You know, it is against the HR. It's a violation. And even Danielle said that it's like a taboo subject, and it is. It is because it brings up negative connotation. And why is that? You know, it's not that you have to make a lot of money and hoard all this money, but money buys opportunities. If you want to give back, if you want to help people, you have to be able to take care of yourself and your family and earn some money that you can give other people. You can give somebody a scholarship. You can buy somebody, you know, clothing if they need it. So money gives you opportunities. And I think that's the part that people have, is this negative connotation about what money really is. And it isn't the root of all evil. It isn't. Money is a natural part of your life. Now it's what you do with it. That's the kicker. It's what you do with it.
Yeah.
So interesting. I've had that experience with a lot of my female clients, but I recently worked with a couple, and both of them, when we started talking about their money story and we started diving into what they were told as they were growing up and how that affected them today, they realized, hey, we've been married for a year and we've never had the money conversation. We've never merged. We get together and we pay bills and we make sure everything's paid, but we've never gotten on the same page about creating a financial future together. He had been divorced, and so he had some other issues that came into the whole thing. But all of us, if we come to any sort of a relationship, whether it's a work partnership, a marriage, a significant other, and we haven't dealt with our own money story and our own money issues, we're bringing that right along with us. Then you take
Absolutely.
somebody else who has their own money issues and you try and merge that together, and you wonder why it's a taboo subject that nobody wants to talk about, because everybody thinks, oh my God, we're going to end up divorced and we just got married. And you've got to figure out how we can really start to create a space where that conversation is no longer uncomfortable, that it's not a taboo subject, that it is something that people can feel open and confident and comfortable in asking the questions they need so that they can make great decisions. I mean, that's really what it's all about.
And you could be uncomfortable for a little bit until you get to the root of what's going on. But I will tell you that it's very interesting. Like, my husband and I are married 5 years, and we're both well above middle age. I mean, we're right there that people think we should be talking about retirement. Actually, you should talk about retirement when you're less than 40, but whatever. And so there was a TV station that asked if they could interview us. He's a retired colonel and I'm an entrepreneur. So right then and there, you can see the two differences in where we come from, right? Entrepreneurs fly by the seat of their pants. We just do. And retired military is very structured. So here's this camera crew sitting at our dining room table, and they want to talk about retirement. We have not had the retirement talk. We were married maybe, I don't know, a month. We've never had the retirement talk. So here we are on camera, live, and they're asking us about what are we going to do for retirement? And I said, well, you know, we're going to get there and we're going to do what we need to do. And, you know, we both want to be able to give back and mentor and blah, 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 blah. And he says, well, I've got a retirement account. And and I thought, oh my God, you know, this is like from two different worlds colliding. But after the cameras were off, I said, you know, I think we need to have this retirement talk. You know, and he's like, yeah, because we want the same things. It's how you get there. It's the vehicle to get you there. And so it is a male-female thing. It really is. And it's also the differences in the culture. You know, he's a retired military and I am a fly by the seat of the pants. And so we did have the talk and we do want the same things. But I'm telling you, as women, we don't really want to start that conversation. Why? Why is it? Because that's how we were brought up, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that mindset that each of us are bringing to the table, men, the provider, you have to have success. You can't show your emotions. You've got to always succeed and always perform and, you know, be that knight in shining armor. I got to tell you, it's a lot of stress, especially in this world where, you know, in order to survive, you got to have those dual incomes. You just have to. I mean, just the rent here and the mortgages and whatever, just in the Denver area, it's crazy. I mean, because of life situations, I have to be the breadwinner, and it's an honor to me. But in a lot of situations, the clients that I talk to, if one of them, if the woman wasn't working or the you know, whatnot, it would be catastrophic. And really what it comes down to is that mindset of, okay, well, guys they're raised with, you have to be strong and emotionless and you've got to be focused on making money and you've got to be serious and climbing that ladder. And women, it's taboo and you got to wait for the knight in shining armor and whatnot. And so that you have these totally conflicting mindsets of, and both of them, I think on both sides, money is toxic. There's never enough. It's bad, it's evil. And so I think there's a lot of similarities that we have for it, but it's really having that money conversation, and it's about understanding the other counterparts so that you can come together and move forward. And what's fun, Mara is a guru when it comes to understanding and helping people understand their money mantras, and also replacing that with a new money mantra. And I think this would be a really cool segue to dive into that segment a little here, to help give some people some strategies and tips to understand what's going on here, so that they can move forward in not just their relationship with money, but their relationships with other people as well.
So I have a really big question for the two of you. What about, how important is your mindset to have the mindset of abundance as opposed to the mindset of scarcity? Because if we're always afraid of not having enough money, or how we're going to pay the bills, and have that mindset, how much of a detriment is it if that's all you believe, as opposed to the mindset of abundance? You may not have a bucket of money, but can't you still have the mindset of abundance? I know, Mara, you have a lot to say about that, because that's what we're talking about. But don't you think that we have to change our mindset that way, as opposed to always thinking about, oh my God, I can't pay my bills. Oh my God, I can't do this. And
yeah, I feel like a lot of it becomes, I like to think about it from the idea of our money soundtrack. And basically, when we're born into our family of origin. And if we're told our entire lives we don't have enough money, even if there is enough money, it's kind of like this defense mechanism that if our parents learned it from their parents, they teach it to us. And we start this broken record of, I don't have enough money, I can't afford that, I can't do that. Then you add in the gender role stuff that Trevor was sharing. And by the time you try and get in relationship with someone, or create a business partnership with someone, you're so totally confused. And all you're doing is telling yourself, as a defense mechanism, I have no money. When if you'd actually sit down and get comfortable enough to look at your financial situation, you actually maybe do have money. You just got to figure out how to start saving and how to tell it where to go. And a lot of times it takes being willing to get into more of like I don't want to say meditative state, but into like this perspective of really reflecting on, what have I been telling myself for the last X number of years I've been on the planet? And is that story really serving me? All the stuff I've told myself up until this point has brought me to the point that I'm in right now. Is that working for me? Not really. I mean, this happened to me in 2008. I was in the construction industry, took over my dad's business as a 21-year-old right out of college. I was running a $7 million construction company, making six figures, had $80,000 saved in my 401k by the time I was 23. Thought I had it all together. The economy collapsed. And it was the first opportunity I had to really look at what was actually going on around me. And what I realized was I was totally wearing myself out, burning the candle at both ends. And I was about to have a nervous breakdown as a 23-year-old. And what I realized was that actually tied to my money beliefs. My money belief was, I've got to work really, really hard, like 80 hours a week, just like my dad. I can make good money. I can make six figures, but I have to burn myself out in the process. And so I had to come to a place when I actually got into the financial industry, I had to start looking at, all right, so how do I do this and have peace and presence and a great life that I love, that I don't need to take a vacation from? And what does that look like from the perspective of abundance? And that's where rewriting that money story and kind of replacing that tape that was playing in my head shifted my perspective on everything in life, including my financial situation. I had to start telling myself, you know what? The first time I tried it, actually, I said, money flows freely to me and through me, because I wanted to not have to work 80 hours. But do you see a problem with that statement?
Went right through you.
Went right through. I mean, I made more money than I'd ever made that year. And it was like, where did it all go? This is crazy. So I said, all right, this thing works. I just need to get more specific. So I said, money flows easily and effortlessly to me. And with it, I honor myself, my business, my family, my business, my community, and my causes. And the surplus flows out and blesses the world. It's a little bit longer, but it took that root cause of exhaustion that I found in my own money story, that money soundtrack, and I rewrote it. I find that that is the most powerful way to create a money mantra, is to tie it directly to whatever it was that's been limiting you in your past so that you can start over.
Yeah, and I think part of that is that you have to come up with a mantra that you're comfortable with saying. And I've always been told that you should be saying these things before you go to sleep at night. This is how you go to sleep, and you can rest because you're thankful for the day you just had. You're anxious about what's coming up in a good way. And I always say, I'm whole, I'm healthy, and I'm abundantly wealthy. It doesn't mean money. It doesn't. And being wealthy is not necessarily about just money. Yes,
Right.
I mean, money is part of it, but being wealthy, there's so much more to it. And like I said before, money gives you opportunities, and you do have to work hard. If it comes easy, it's not going to last. So going into something that you love and going into something that can bring you joy and happiness and wealth. That's truly what it is. But I love your mantra. I mean, I do. But when you said it flows through you, it's like, I'm going to lose weight. You don't want to lose weight. You want to replace it. If you lose it, you find it. So you don't lose weight. It's the truth, But
Yeah.
but I do think that everybody has to come up with some kind of affirmation, and it's not just about money. I think you have to have an affirmation that makes you feel good, that makes you, want to get up in the morning and continue on the day. Because what we say in ourselves, to our heads, this internal chatter and this critic that we have, is very harmful to us. So when you say something like, if you say, I'm going to try to do that, take the word try out. I'm going to do that, because that's what you're putting out into the universe. I'm going to, be number one in this next, whatever the next class is or whatever. Yeah, you could do that, but just feel comfortable with what you're trying to accomplish. And money is not a bad thing. You can make money and still feel good about it.
Absolutely. One of the most powerful mantras I've found for people that are maybe just getting into this work, that still are feeling very limited about money and maybe just don't even know where to go to get their questions answered, is something like, I have the skills that I need to get the information that I need to make great decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And even that is empowering enough that if we can build up enough self-confidence to go ask the question for the thing that we need to know without feeling bad about not knowing, it creates a total shift in our life, and we become open to what exactly could I be opening up in my world by talking to new people, by asking those questions that I've been avoiding, by not shooting on myself and telling myself that, I should have done it differently. Well, this time around, you don't get another chance. So you got to do it differently from this point forward.
Here's the other thing. So we're in January. January is the best time to press the reset button. Reset it. If you need to reset something, now is the time, because you're in the beginning of the year. So it's not like you have to redo everything for it's January 10th. You're only 10 days in. And if you already have blown through your resolutions and you're not going to do them anymore, who cares? You have to be able to reset to what you want it to be. I used to tell my kids that when they were going away to school or anything like that, you get to reinvent yourself. You get to decide who you want to be and what you want to take forward. And you get to leave behind what you don't need anymore. The things that are not serving you, you leave them behind. Same thing. It's 2018. What didn't serve you in 2017? What held you back from, reaching your goals? What was it? And let's get rid of it. And if it was something that had to do with money, like I can't take that course because I don't have the money in it. Well, let me just say, I just did this with somebody. I asked her, I said, have you ever written down a food journal? Did you ever try to lose weight? And she said, yeah, you have to write everything down and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I want you to do the same thing with money. You could do the same thing with your time, and see where there's little pockets there that maybe you can't take this course because you go to Starbucks every single day, 2 or 3 times a day. Take that money, put it into a bucket, and at the end of the month, there's your course. Same thing with our time. Our time is so valuable. Write down what you do every day. I would bet you'd be horrified about the number of hours that you're just wasting. You also might be horrified about how much you're working and not getting anywhere. So you have to also decide what it is you're trying to accomplish. But this is the best time, because this is reset time. Reset it. Reset the mantras. Reset what you're trying to do. Reset your goals.
Yep. I've spoken to 2 women that I have the privilege of working with through Five Rings Financial that we've hired and trained in the last 24 hours. And one of the things as far as resetting is that they both were saying, okay, I'm ready for what's next. I've set some goals. I want to create a vision board, but the old way of goal setting is not resonating with me anymore. So I want to share this because this may resonate with some of the other women that are on the call, and Trevor, is that if you're looking at what you want to accomplish for the year, if that left brain, like goal-oriented action task kind of thing just isn't serving you, spend some time really thinking about who you want to be and how you want to be showing up around your money, around your time, around the stories that you're telling yourself, around how you're interacting with your family, how you're interacting with your business, and really reflect and get clear. Is it, if you had all the money in the world and you had already achieved all of those left brain goals, then what? What is the reason that you're doing all of this, and what's the point? Who do you want to be showing up as? Is it you want to be peaceful and serene? You want to be present? You want to be loving? You want to feel more joy? And build your goals and your dream board and your vision for the year around those emotional things instead of necessarily hitting particular accomplishments.
Absolutely. Can I share my exercise that I told you about?
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so if everybody that's listening, I want you to write this on a piece of paper. Write down $86,400. $86,400. And I want you to think for a minute, what if I gave you $86,400 today? If I handed you $86,400, what would you spend it on? Because you have to spend it today. You can't carry it over. You can't give it back to me. You can't invest it. You have to spend it today. What would you spend it on? $86,400. Does anybody want to share what they would spend it on? People always have these great things that they want to do with $86,400.
Everyone's on a friendly mute. So if you have something that comes to mind, all you have to do is click to unmute yourself. Or you can raise your hand and we can unmute you and you can share.
Who wants to spend $86,400? It's not your money.
I know exactly what I would spend it on.
What would you spend it on?
I would spend it on a home remodel.
Okay. And what does that look like?
We are hoping to expand our living space to have more rooms to grow our family, to house them.
Okay.
So build a new master bedroom, basically, long and short of it.
Okay, so $86,400, you've got a new home. Awesome.
A new master, yeah.
New master, yep. Who else?
Lawrence said she'd pay debt, schooling, and travel.
Okay.
In the chat.
Awesome. Who else?
Danielle would go on 3 months vacation, which is cool. I'm going after that Tesla. I got the new house and
the Tesla. Yeah.
Awesome. Like life is good. I go Tesla today.
Okay.
Tomorrow something else.
Danielle, where are you going on vacation?
Anywhere that there's a beach.
Anywhere there's a beach.
I'm happy with the ocean.
Okay, so we have $86,400. We've got vacation, we've got cars, we've got master bedrooms. Okay, flip your paper over. And I want you to write the number 86,400 with no dollar sign. Because that's how many seconds you have every single day to spend. You can't take it over with you. You can't give it away. You can't save it. You can't bank it. You can't do anything. So what are you going to do with 86,400 seconds every day? How are you going to spend your day? What's your priorities? Because that's the part that people are struggling with. How are they supposed to make money if they don't have enough time? And why is it that some people have all this time and some people run out of time? It's the same 86,400 seconds. So think about what you would do. How would you spend your valuable time? Because you never get it back. So are you looking to, change your career? Are you looking to be around the amazing people? Are you trying to be a millionaire and you want to hang out with millionaires? What are you going to do for 86,400 seconds every single day? And that's the part that you have to start thinking about, because that's where you change your mindset. If you wrote down everything you did every single day, would you be shocked? Would you be excited? Would you change anything? When people say, well, I'm going to binge watch such and such, that's awesome. And you can do that. But remember, you don't get that time back. It's the same thing if you work in corporate America and you have meeting after meeting after meeting, you never get those hours back. You see a bad movie, you never get those hours back. So what are you going to do to spend your time the same way that you knew how you were going to spend $86,400?
Yeah, with that, Judy, last year, the year before, all my life, it's like whenever people call me up, I'm just really busy. I'm really busy growing my business. I'm really busy growing. I'm really busy doing this. I'm really busy doing that. And really what I was doing is I was flushing time down the drain, because in auditing your money and your monthly budget, same thing with your time. Money is time. Time is money. Just simple, small words of that mindset of I'm busy. No, I'm not. I'm not busy at all. I'm productive. So just a small, simple change of, wow, I'm super productive. I have way more time with my family because I'm productive. I am way more effective on my business because I'm productive. Of course I have time for you. I'm productive. I get things done. And when we go back and we analyze, well, what is that garbage I've been putting in my head? What have I been allowing in, either passively or on purpose? And what is that mindset or that mantra that you have going, whether you chose it or not, and go, wow, do I like busy? I don't like busy. Do I like spinning my wheels? Do I like pointless activities? No. And reframing it and taking that bad situation, because I redid my money mantra, and it's not just a money mantra, it's a life set mantra, just not too long ago as we were getting in this. But I realized that I would, as much work as I had done, I was never enough. As a man, I was never enough. There was something I was always supposed to do, and I was never going to catch up. And so my mantra is I am enough, and I'm always where I need to be. And in every day and every way, I get better and better. And that spans everything: my relationships, my finances, my personal health, my mindset, my self-love, how I am as a dad, how I show up as a leader. And that's the thing is, as I try to tell people when I'm sitting down with clients, it's like, we're going to talk about your finances. Chances are we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff that is not money, because money affects so many other parts of your life. And if they're all in disarray, then the finances, I find, is the keystone to allowing yourself to focus on, instead of multitasking and trying to improve all these different areas, you can really start to focus on, okay, now my relationship's going to get better, and now I'm going to be a better mom or a better dad, or I'm going to be a better boss, or I'm going to be a better person in this way. And I find money, when you can hone that in and go, oh yeah, money's easy. I borrow this from you all the time. Yeah, Mara says this. I wouldn't be here if my life wasn't fully funded. So you just got to think bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the money just kind of comes in. And I've found that over and over. And it's that switching of, well, it's really hard to come by. You have to work for them. You got to trade money or hours for money. And I can only make as much. I've only had a little bit of education. And what's interesting, the reason why men get so many raises and so many promotions is because they ask. They're not more qualified. They don't know more than you do. I sit back, and my wife, she was amazing at getting raises and amazing at climbing that ladder. And she said, yeah, I just don't get it. The women around me, they don't ask for these positions. And I'm able to outcompete and get more money because I ask. What? Sorry about that. My Facebook Live just cut out. I'm not quite sure what happened. Anyway, but this whole mindset of, gosh, I can do this. I can be more. I can have more. I can do more. You only get one time in this life, depending on what you believe. But so live it up. I mean, if you want to have that career, if you want to have that lifestyle, you can do it all. And I am living proof of that. I don't work before 1 p.m. so I can be a dad. I run a amazing business all across the country. And I figured it out about getting with the right people, cross-pollinating information, letting some, just like your mindset, unfortunately, letting some people go out of your life, because you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around with, the books you read, and the things you listen to. And so there are multiple components to your mindset. And if you're looking around going, well, I don't like where I am. And if you want something to change, you're probably going to have to change something. And so what is that? And it really is what is going on in your mind. Because when you change the inside, your outside reflects your inside. So myself, I found I was always living paycheck to paycheck. I was always struggling. And it's because mentally I always was down in the dumps. But the second I started focusing on myself, and it sounds selfish, but it is selfish. You got to put on your oxygen mask first, right? I tell you, you start working on yourself, you start getting a clear head, you start thinking positively and taking positive actions. People are going to think you're weird. I mean, what's up with that guy? What's up with that woman? Why are they singing and skipping? Well, it's because they're working on being better. And that you got to do some weird things and step out of and change some things. So mindset, there's a lot of things you can do, and that's why I love the Wine, Women, and Wealth program. It's really about attacking that head on. So.
And you do have to be a little uncomfortable when things are changing, and you have to be okay with being uncomfortable. And that's the thing that you have to remember. It doesn't come easy. It isn't easy. Like anything else, it takes time, and it takes work, and you have to have people around you that can help you. And as women, we don't necessarily want to ask for help, but there's nothing wrong with asking for help, because it's a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. And there's so many people around you that have so much experience that you just have to remember, you're not in this life by yourself. You didn't come in by yourself. You're not going out by yourself. And in between, you get to spend time with amazing people. But you have to be able to be uncomfortable. That's all. Seriously, right? Mara, you know that, right?
Absolutely. The more you're willing to stretch and step out and really put yourself in those places that do make you uncomfortable, that's how you grow. And what's so amazing about growing is it doesn't always feel good. Whether it's growing in our financial lives, growing in our business life, growing in our relationships, growing in how we treat our kids, whatever's going on in our world, it doesn't always feel good. But there's always an incredible reward, not only for yourself, but you've got to remind yourself that every time you're going through something that's really, really painful, when you get through it, somebody else is going to show up in your life that you're going to be able to guide through what you just went through. And that makes it all worth it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, like when you sit down with a group of people, sometimes what you're hearing has no effect on you whatsoever. But the following month, when you come back and you're talking and the same thing comes up, all of a sudden it's really important to you. So it's all about timing also. Not everything happens exactly the way you need it to happen, but it does come full circle. So, money is money, like I always say, but the point is that don't be afraid to earn it. Don't be afraid to own it, and don't be afraid to share it.
So
Amen.
Judy, you deserve wealth, and you know that you know that.
Thank
and
you.
Where you came from, I don't think that you believe that you deserve wealth at the beginning. What was that shift? Was there a key moment? Was there a span of multiple events? When did you sit and go, gosh, I deserve to have this?
I think for me, it was more that I didn't believe in myself. It wasn't even about money or wealth or anything else. I didn't believe in myself because of things that had been said to me my whole life, that you're never going to amount to anything, and you're just another pretty girl and things like that, and you start to believe it. And I just did this talk today to a group of women, and I rewind my tapes all the time. I have to, because it's the only way that I get through the day, because of the things that come back at the most inopportune times when you're going out to get this big proposal, and as you walk in the door, you hear, you're never going to amount to anything, you're not good enough to do this, and da-da-da-da-da. And I have to go back and say, I am amazing, I am funny, and I am awesome, and I deserve to have this proposal. And then, you go through it, and you come out and you have it, and you're like, I knew it, I could do this. And I think that's what happened, Trevor. Honestly, I think that I had to keep rewinding the tapes, and I still do it. I still do it, because still things come back. And even when I was doing the talk today, as I was saying the things that my father had said to me, I started to cry, like in the middle of talking, because even though it was so many years ago, it was 45 years ago that one of the conversations took place, it still stings. So even the things that you think you get over, you don't necessarily get over, but you have to figure out how you're going to show up And so, and you know, you just have to say, I'm not that person. I'm this, and I do deserve it. And I think that that's what it was. It was more like me starting to believe in myself as opposed to anything else. And I think that's part of it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you're, you know, pretty freaking good. You know?
What about you, Mara?
For me, the shift from being able to getting to that point where I believed that I deserve wealth had a lot to do with redefining what money is and how money relates to me because of my upbringing. I was brought up in a fairly religious household, and I heard all of the stuff like, you know, money is the root of all evil, the rich man can't enter the kingdom of heaven, and all of the stuff that oftentimes gets sort of distilled down into really nice Sunday school stories that really gets inside your head and screws you up. And I remember going through that experience with the, it's easier for a rich man to enter it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And it just created all of these confusing situations for me where I wanted to make money because I knew that I had a big mission. I knew that I wanted to impact people's lives. I knew that the more visibility I had, the more I would be rewarded for what I did. But then there was this level of self-sabotage that said, if I become the rich man, I'm going here and not there. And that for me became a really key breakthrough in how I defined money, how I looked at money, when I realized money really is energy. It's the exchange of our value for the value of someone else. And when someone is willing to invest in something that I have to offer, that means that I do deserve it because I'm showing up in a big, big way. The more money we start making, that's the more impact we're able to have. And working with women all across the country through Wine Women and Wealth and through my personal clients, I've found that a lot of times when you sit down with a woman and you talk to her about her vision of what she wants to do and how she wants to impact the world, that's very, very clear. She just hasn't necessarily related to the fact that that's going to take a few $1 million. And why would we be given that sort of a vision if it wasn't something that we could accomplish? And Trevor shared, you know, my favorite thing to say is, why would I be here if my mission wasn't fully funded? I mean, if I've got these crazy visions, it's because I came in with the ability to accomplish that. And all I need to do is assemble my team in order to make that happen. And beginning to change that perspective on how I looked at money is what helped me to get to that point where I can embrace and say that I absolutely deserve to be a billionaire.
So, and
billion with a B.
That's right. But don't you think that if you didn't support and service your clients, that you're doing them a disservice? Because truly, that's your gift. That's your brilliance. And if you don't share your brilliance with people, then what's the point?
Right.
Jim and Sheila just said that money is a certificate of appreciation for what you provide.
I love that.
Right? Does that make sense? Of course it makes sense, because that's what we're given. You're not given a gift for you to hold on to it. You have to share it with other people, because otherwise it's a waste, and you don't want anything to be wasted. So, I mean, you know, I like to give everything, and that was the other part, I think, Trevor, is that I just kept giving, and never realized that I had to really charge for it. I think that was part of it as well. Like, you give because it's so easy to give, and people really appreciate it most of the time. And so at some point you have to say, okay, but don't I deserve to get paid for that? Right. And I think that's part of it as well. You have to, and it's like, you know, you say, well, I'm going to charge $500 when really all your competition is charging $15,000 and you're charging $500. Okay, well, I remember one of my coaches many years ago, she said to me, you look like Neiman Marcus and you charge like Walmart. And I thought, yikes. You know, because she said, you have to raise your rates. I'm like, no, I don't want to. She goes, yeah, Neiman Marcus, Walmart.
Yep. Well, we have about 8 minutes left in our webinar, and I know we've addressed quite a few of the comments that were shared in our question box that we had everybody kind of contribute ahead of time. But one of the main things that I saw quite a few times is, how in the world do I even get started in saving? And so I think that's with 8 minutes left, we could probably address that and then tell everybody about the gift that we want to share with them at the end of the webinar so that they can spend some extra time with us so we can help them get some clarity. So Trevor, do you want to speak to how to get started in saving?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we do, this Money 101 class all across the country. We do, about 80 classes live across the country, but we also started a virtual class. And a lot of people, I ask people every day, where did you grow up? Did you have financial education offered in high school or middle school and college? And everybody says no, but I would love to take that class.
Right.
Because really it's the, we do this example of a doubling dollar of a wealthy person and an average American, and they both have the same opportunity, but I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but the end result, far different. And it wasn't that they had a different opportunity, it was just the education that was lacking. And so in having a Money 101 class, the best place is to obtain some education and information. What Mara's done with Wine, Women, and Wealth, we've got 80 locations across the country now, and we could easily have 8,000 and not even scratch the surface. And basically what we're doing is we're having this strategy session that Mara and I and Judy will be getting with you on a one-to-one basis, depending on the specific focus of your feedback. But we're going to be sitting down with you and answering those questions of, okay, how do you save? Where's the best place to start? Okay, I'm working 80 hours. I've got kids. I'm the sole breadwinner. I'm a single mom. How can I start a part-time gig so I can transition out of some of my full-time or part-time positions, have more money, where to invest? So, what's really interesting about money and savings is there's this principle called the time value of money. And most people think they have to trade their time for money, but really what savings is yeah, you do got to you have to give in order to receive money, but it's allowing that money to continue to work for you over as much time as you could possibly do through retirement. And we teach these rules and principles. It's a free class. There's nothing to buy. There's nothing. We just give this away because we're the organization that says enough is enough. We want to give away financial education to make a huge, huge, huge difference. So Mara's going to put in the link to the strategy session. But basically what we're going to be doing is finding out what's going to be the best and most important thing that's going to help you start that process. Everybody has a different starting point. That's one thing that that I've realized over and over again. And everybody has a different ending point. But the main thing is it's not saving money that will create wealth. It's the habit of saving money. And you wouldn't think that a little money could make a huge difference. But over time is that key factor that a lot of people just don't think about. And when you can see it, when there's Jim Rohn, we brought him up a few times tonight, when there's hope for the future, there's power in the present. And if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what to do now. And you're just kind of aimless. A lot of people are jaded. A lot of people just don't know. So seeing the end result of where you're going is very helpful as well. A lot of financial institutions, unfortunately, you have to have $500,000 or more like $1 million even to have a focused conversation with them. Our focus is to have conversations with middle income Americans. Everybody on this webinar, you're it. I mean, we want to help you. And the goal is for us is to find the best strategy, because what works for me may not work for Mara. What works for Mara may not work for Judy. What works for Kelly may not work for Melanie. And so to answer that question, it's really to get into that mindset and to allow you the opportunity to kind of tackle those. So that's what I would say is if you're looking to start that process, you need to get some outside counsel. You need to get some additional information and know that you're not going in this alone. No, you're not alone. You just Google, go on YouTube and learn about budgeting or learn about finances. There's millions and millions of views for videos. So you are not alone in this. So that's the first thing to know. So we look forward to, so if you do have an opportunity and want to get together with us, we'd love to spend some time with you to help each and every, because I'm looking at these questions and there's a lot of questions.
Yeah. And the strategy session is one of those things we're going to really be able to target. Obviously, you can see Trevor's amazing at, if you're ready to start looking at how do I budget, how do I start saving, he might be your guy. If you want to talk money mantra and rewriting that mindset, it might be me. If you want to look at how come I'm not charging enough and how can I improve and grow my business, it might be Judy. So Judy, you want to take 30 seconds or so and just share with them from what you do with selling in a skirt. Actually, we have 3 minutes. So how they could maybe focus on working with you. If there's some people who already work with us at Five Rings Financial, a strategy session with you might be even more beneficial.
Yeah, thank you. Basically what I do is I help, and 99% of my clients are women. I help women figure out their business. So how do you start a business? How do you become the expert in your business? How do you grow your business? How do you reach out to other people? It's all about, believe it or not, most of this is going to be about sales. Whether you are trying to budget your money, how do you sell something to get money, to budget money? If you want to know about money mantras and you want to learn about investing money and growing your portfolio, it's about sales. There's nothing that doesn't happen that sales is not attached to it. And that's really what selling in a skirt is all about. But what's nice about strategy sessions is truly you have a pair of eyes and a pair of ears that are not yours. And sometimes having that extra eyes and ears to talk to you about what's going on in your business, what's going on in your life is really all you need. And it's really a conversation. There's no interrogation, there's nothing. And so in selling in a skirt, I do a lot of strategy sessions, just getting people on board of where they want to be. Sometimes I see things in them that they don't even see in themselves. So I think strategy sessions are always great. I like to call them laser focused because it's really about you. It has nothing to do with us. So.
Awesome. Well, we put that strategy session link in the chat box. If you want to just click that, that'll take you over to a Google form. You can let us know a little bit more about what you enjoyed from the conversation tonight, if there's a place that you'd like to focus, and then we'll filter through those results tomorrow and see who's going to be the best to work with you, and they'll reach out to you directly to get something scheduled to do that 30-minute strategy session and find out how we might be able to support you further. Anything you want to say to wrap up, Trevor?
Yeah, actually I do. We were talking about this a few minutes before we started, and we had a number of people RSVP, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're locking out. We probably should set another time to do this webinar, because I got messages, hey Trevor, I can't make it. Is there going to be another one of these? Is this going to be recorded? Can we jump on? I invited so many of my girlfriends, people in my family, but they couldn't make it. Is there another time? So on Tuesday the 16th, 10 a.m., that's Mountain Time, so 9 Pacific, 12 Eastern Time, and 11 Central. We're going to be doing a lot of we're going to be going over this information again. So feel free to share that information. But yeah, do us a favor. Tweet, share, comment on social media about how you love this event. Feel free, if you're not friends with Mara, Judy, or I, feel free to reach out with us on LinkedIn. Stay connected. This is a movement, and we can't do this alone. So we really, really, really appreciate you. And as this dream is coming together for me, I'm grateful for each and every one of you for taking time out of your night.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for sharing your evening with us.
Yes, thank you very much. You'll receive something from us by email. It's probably going to end up in your spam because that's how these email systems work, but it'll have another link to that strategy session if you want to follow that up, and then a couple of things that you could copy and paste and share in your social media if you enjoyed it. And the cool thing about this is if you had fun, come back next time, because the conversation's probably going to be totally different.
Totally.
We had sort of a parameter of things we thought we wanted to cover, but I think based on the energy each time we do this, it's going to be a little bit different. So join us next time, and thank you so much for being here tonight and participating. We are so excited to have had you be a part of this. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.